To be a champion, it requires heart and a relentless desire to be great. Here at Jaguar Women's Basketball, we call that being Southern tough. Join us here at F.G. Clark Activity Center all season long. Tickets are on sale now for 2017-18. Go Jaguars.
This is Inside the Jaguar Nation, presented by Russell Law Firm.
That's right. Welcome to Inside the Jaguar Nation. I'm Brian Holland, alongside Morgan Beard, of course. The real MVP, by the way, Aaron Lee, on assignment. So I'm subbing in. We'll hear from Aaron, and of course, our performer of the week there from the Bluff here in just a few moments.
Yeah, speaking of performers, the Southern men's basketball team, they've been doing their thing lately, but now in a hole in conference play, and the Jackson State Tigers in the house in that shade of blue, Brian, the one that's a little different than that one right there.
Get it out.
Not acceptable in your wardrobe.
Nope.
On a week like this. Let's get right to the highlights. It's the Jags versus the Jackson State Tigers, and the team getting ready there at the F.G. Clark Activity Center. First half, no score. Emmanuel Shepard to the rack, going a little reverse there for the first points of the game. And then keep a hold of your sandwich there. Torrey Mayo still for Southern, and dishes to Shepard with the jam. 2 of his 9 on the night. Jags up 5 early on, Brian.
Yeah, Mayo not done. The pickpocket right there. He's going to take it all the way himself. Might as well. Actually, he's only bucket on the night, but in the second half, the Tigers, they'd get it going. They'd hit some of those buckets. In Jackson State, really the scoring defense leader, they held the Jags there in the second half to just, 39% for the night. 3 for 11 from behind the arc, and you're going to see the Tigers, they were silky smooth there from three-point land. Jaguars' first home loss of the season. Final score, 65-61. And let's take a look at some of those stats. By the way, Jared Sam, he's just been solid. The senior from Scotlandville, he's been doing his thing, 22 points. But you see that second half, 9 for 23, 0 for 4 there from three-point land in the second half, and they were outscored 39-24. That is a problem, Mr. Beard. By the way, the women taking on Jackson State the very same night, Monday night. Brianna Green turning defense into offense. An early lead. 2 of her 31. That's a career high for her. Jackson State fans, they couldn't get it going either. Christina Ellis, she's going to try and bring the Tigers there a little bit closer, but it was Green, Lyric Scott here with the drive, the rebound, the putback, doing dirty work there. 12 points on the night there for Mrs. Scott.
Yeah, Green just a little too much, or a lot too much there with a career high. There she gets the drive and the lay-in. And a little Kobe action there, a dirty little step back, making it look way too easy out there. Beating the unbeaten Lady Tigers in swag play. Southern gets the win, 86-76.
You know, Brianna was huge tonight. You know, we didn't have Sarai. She fell and tweaked her knee at practice yesterday, so she's out. But seeing her the last 2 ball games step her game up to another level, you know, I like what I see, and she's definitely been the reason for our success. A major part of our the reason for our success.
Oh, yeah, to say the least there. Brianna Green, too much on this night. 31 points, like we said, a career high. And then she also filled the stat sheet basically everywhere else. 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and Lyric Scott adding in a nice little 12 points there. And look at that bench line. Jags scoring 40, Jackson State 28. And when that happens, and especially when you have Brianna Green scoring 31 points, Brian, that is a Southern victory.
By the way, just as automatic as Miss Green, oh, the human jukebox, getting it all fired. We don't miss a week of jukebox right here on Inside the Jaguar Nation. By the way, coming up, Devon Gales, remember, paralyzed after that tragic hit versus Georgia Monday night. Well, he was on his feet watching the Dogs at the national championship game. We'll update you on the progress from the former Southern Jag.
Yeah, you don't want to miss that. And coming up next after the break, we talk to our performer of the week, and we take a little stock of the season thus far for the Jaguar teams on the court. We take a little look back. That's all coming up right here on Inside the Jaguar Nation.
You're watching Inside the Jaguar Nation, presented by Russell Law Firm, with Brian Holland, Morgan Beard, Ashley Lyotis, and Aaron Lee.
That's right. Welcome to Inside the Jaguar Nation. He's Morgan Beard. I'm Brian Holland with you here every week. And we're just starting to dip into that conference play, the Southwestern Athletic Conference. The men, They have some major ground to make up, but the women, they are on a roll right now.
You saw it before the break, blowing out Jackson State there. And absolutely, you're right, Brian. Sandy Pugh squad starting off SWAC play in a big way. And a big reason for that, our Performer of the Week, Brianna Green, alongside our Performer of the Week, Aaron Lee.
I really just wanted to win. You know, anything can happen at any given time, but I felt like it was just going to be a good night, and 31 points is good, but the win is better. Defensively, not so more offense. We get a lot of energy when it comes to our defense, but we get steals and we play together and we rotate like we're supposed to. Coach Jay stays on us about that, like she said. But when we do those things and we actually listen to what he's saying, because that defense is amazing, but it's a tyrant type defense, so you have to be able to just adjust, and I think that's what we did. 2 big wins at home is always amazing. You know, to start the semester off strong, with classes starting Wednesday. So, you know, just once again giving the fans, you know, what they came out here to see. And I think it's just good for us going on the road, going against Arkansas Pine Bluff soon. We actually lost to them last year, so I think we need to go there and handle business as well. I'm a very team player. I'm not all about me. I'm not all about myself. I've been like that since I was a small kid and also in high school, so I don't think it's anything new. Actually, I played with Courtney Parson, you know, that's on this team. I played with her in high school, so me and her chemistry is amazing, and my chemistry with Sky, with Sam, with Shorty, who is Danae. Our chemistry is always good, especially with me getting them the ball when they're open, so I have no problem with passing the ball. It's not always going to be my night. Coach always tells me it's never going to be my night all the time, so if they're hot, I'm going to give them the ball, so that's just my mindset every game.
Yeah, good stuff from her, by the way. More on Brianna here in just a second, but first, boy, the mindset for the men, they've got a little bit of a hole. Now, I will say this, they've had probably the toughest schedule in the SWAC at Texas Southern, close loss at Prairie View, then a close loss, of course, versus Jackson State at home. So they've played the best 3 offenses already. Jackson State has the best defense in the SWAC, so you're playing prime competition. Unfortunately, only 1 win in their first 4 games there in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Now, Jared Sam, solid. He leads the conference in double-doubles. He's got 6. The next in the SWAC is 3. So
he's doubling the double-doubles.
He's doubling the other double-doubles, absolutely. Who else is going to step up, though? Tori Mayo, back from injury. They're looking for consistency, though, beyond an Eddie Reese, who, by the way, one of the best in the conference in both assists and points in the conference. But I really think you have to look at LaQuinton Collins. Will he come back around, maybe be more consistent? But I think this team has the pieces. They played such a tough schedule. I'm going to call it right now. I think that they have the pieces to maybe turn this one around. Look for a big second half in that conference schedule.
Hey, that's Southern faithful, hoping your call is correct, Brian. But for the women, you know, we saw the bright spot of them beating Jackson State. And so far this year, going into Saturday, Brianna Green, 3rd in the conference in scoring, 16.5 points per game. She's obviously one of the big catalysts to their success early this season. And what about Courtney Parsons and Skylar Obear? Their guards who are also leading the team. And keep in mind, Green and Parsons played together in high school, so of course their chemistry is going to be at an all-time high, and it just radiates around them to the rest of the team. And then, by the way, this team leading the SWAC in free throw percentage. They've shot 72% from the charity stripe. So you talk about close games, and as SWAC play picks up, that will be the difference in those tight games, especially on the road. And I think Sandy Pugh's team certainly has those tools to keep the little streak of theirs going. But you know, on the downside, they don't blow you away with the defensive numbers just yet. So as a coach, you know, they're always trying to pick and pull things apart and try to get better. Sandy Pugh, you know, she's already on them about their defense. But right now with Southern women, you got to like where they are, Brian.
And coming right back, of course, I love that view right there. The human jukebox, of course, taking us to break. Coming up next, though, good to see this smile. How about Devon Gales at the National Championship game? An update on his progress here in just a moment.
Plus, the 2018 Southern football schedule is out. You know, we'd never stop talking football here on Inside the Jaguar Nation. And Brian, you're going to have a nice little hot take for us, aren't you?
I'm already fired up.
Oh, we know what's coming. It's right here Inside the Jaguar Nation. We'll be right back.
This is Inside the Jaguar Nation, presented by Russell Law Firm.
That's right. Welcome back to Inside the Jaguar Nation. I'm Brian Holland alongside Morgan Beard here with you every week right here on Fox 44. By the way, we're looking back on the season that was just a little bit, a little reminiscent, but We're going to look back on not just this year's Southern football team, but take you back a little bit and remind you of a story from 2015 as well.
People will remember this when we're talking about the proud Southern Jaguar, Devon Gales, of course, who suffered a spinal injury in that fateful game versus the Georgia Bulldogs in that year.
Yeah, and the cool thing is UGA, Georgia, they've almost adopted Devon as one of their own. So Devon in the crowd for that national championship game, and put this there on social media. The Dogs, of course, eventually going down in overtime versus the Crimson Tide. Still was a good game, but it's always good to see that smiling face, always finding the positives in life. What an inspiration he's really been to us, to everyone here in the Baton Rouge community. He's certainly BR proud as he continues to make big strides in his recovery, one step at a time.
In his dreams, Devon Gales walks with ease.
This dream that my mom bought me some shoes, some red shoes, and I was tying them like right in the back room, and I was walking outside and I was going to get in somebody's car. Right after that, she bought me those red shoes. So I was like, so it's coming. I just never know when.
In reality, he walks with a helping hand. But Gales won't stop until his dreams become reality once again.
To be able to walk and share my story. Everything is in God's plan, and anything is possible.
He's a wonderful kid. Devon is just, he continues to show not just, my husband and I, but everybody that he's determined, and when he puts his mind to something, he's going to get it done.
Devon came home for Thanksgiving week to spend time with his family and friends before returning to Atlanta and his new family at the Shepherd Center, where Gales has made significant progress in his recovery, including taking his very first steps with the Indigo machine in May.
Once you see something happen, it just kind of like motivates you to keep going. So once I started moving one thing, another thing started coming. I know I'm going to get everything back, and it just takes time.
Like he defines it as 10 times worse than 2-a-days. So, with seeing all of the hard work that he's putting into it, and I get to see what comes out of it, meaning where he wasn't able to sit up on his own. Now I can sit him in a chair, he can sit, he's not wobbling, he's able to hold his core, he's able to feed himself, put his clothes on, transfer in and out of a car, to where before I was having to physically pick him up and put him in the car using slide boards and different things like that to do that. Many of those things he's able to do on his own now. We celebrate all victories. There's none too small. Every small thing is a victory for us.
Physically and mentally stronger than ever, Gales has also actively engaged in sharing his message publicly, a message of hope.
Being back on my feet and motivating others to push and go through their day, knowing that somebody else has it worse than you. That other person might look up to you and they might get something back, or that might motivate them to do something they haven't did before. So I'm still living and I'm still pushing and fighting to be able to get to a goal that I've been trying to accomplish since this happened.
Oh, yeah, I love that. Coming up next, by the way, we look that Southern football team, talked the 2018 schedule that was revealed this week. More on that right here on Inside the Jaguar Nation.
This is Inside the Jaguar Nation, presented by Russell Law Firm.
Hey, welcome back to Inside the Jaguar Nation. With you here every week, Brian Holland, Morgan Beard, and the 2018 schedule for the Southern Jaguars. That came out this week, a big reveal. But to know where you're going, you got to kind of know where you've been, too.
Yeah, or we just like to reminisce a lot. No, but
all right. Yeah, that's fair, actually.
But the Jags, they did have a great run in 2017.
Yeah.
It was a 6-game winning streak before that loss in the Bayou Classic. But the season really took a turn for the better, starting versus Fort Valley State. And Danny Johnson came through for them all season long, everywhere on the field, special teams, defense, offense. And then speaking of offense, there was Herb Edwards, who had multiple 100-yard rushing games and was among the leaders in the SWAC toting the rock.
Yeah, Danny Johnson, Austin Howard, those are the guys you relied upon last year. You're going to have to now start to look at some of those freshmen like Jamar Washington, who stepped up big, you see here in this UAPB game. Some of those guys really now have to step up. And speaking of 2018, the new schedule out.
Oh, and we have a look at it right here. It starts off with the bang. TCU and Gary Patterson's squad over there in Texas, but then they come back to Louisiana versus Louisiana Tech over there up north. You got Langston at home September 15th. And then SWAC play begins September 22nd versus Alabama A&M. Alcorn State, they take a little bit of a bye week there. Come back for Prairie View, Texas Southern, Arkansas Pine Bluff. And then, of course, you know they have that big one there.
Oh, that game.
What is that?
Right.
The one in New Orleans
that
in
game?
the Superdome?
Yeah, I think I've heard of that, the Bayou Classic.
That's always waiting there at the end of the docket, though, Brian. So with that said and knowing what they're looking ahead to, what do you think about their upcoming slate?
Okay, my honest opinion, I saw this. The Cotton Bowl is an awful venue. That's where they're supposed to play Texas Southern. I know you're going to disagree with me on this because you got a little Oklahoma in you, but I've covered games there. It's an awful part of town. It's hard to get to. It's hard to park, hard to get out of. It's expensive to park. You don't want to be there at night. The only other games really that they play there is the Heart of Dallas Bowl. Say that out loud. The Zaxby's Bowl. I've covered one of those bowl games. It was awful. And literally, so it's 92,000 seats, by the way. And when you don't fill it all the way up, it just looks emptier than it really is.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they're playing there. Now, TCU, that's going to give you a strong test. Boy, they are good in the Big 12. And then only 4 home games. I know some of those Southernites over there on the Bluff, not too happy about that. They want more home games. But the final few weeks of the schedule are the toughest. Dawson Odoms always talks about November football, right? That's kind of where you separate the men from the boys. And it's going to be exciting, I think, once they finally get down that stretch, get through late October, and, of course, play your rival Jackson State. They move that to the back end of the schedule. Boy, it is a backloaded schedule. It's going to be fun.
Wait, Brian, before you're done, please talk more about the Cotton Bowl. I want to know really what you think.
I knew you were going to hate that, but I'm sorry. Tell you what, I'll let you go to the Cotton Bowl. Hey. You and Aaron Lee can be the MVPs that week.
I will hold you to that one, just like, the Human Jukebox.
Oh, yeah.
Holds it down every single week there during football season. Can't get enough of that right there.
Yep, we close out the show next right here on Inside the Jaguar Nation.
This is Inside the Jaguar Nation, presented by Russell Law Firm.
That's right. Welcome back to the show. Morgan Beard, Brian Holland, as always, and we're closing down the show with what's coming up next on the Bluff.
Yeah, let's take a look at the Southern calendar. Of course, you got men's and women's basketball at Valley. Then they come home on Saturday next week. And then you have bowling, by the way, not listed on Saturday. That's in Dallas-Fort Worth. And by the way, women's tennis in town, but at LSU for the LSU Invitational. That'll wrap up our show. Until next time, it's Morgan Beard. For Aaron Lee, I'm Brian Holland. You're Inside the Jaguar Nation. See you next week.
Winning doesn't happen overnight without a championship mindset. Come join me, head coach Morris Scott, and the SU Jag men's basketball team as we prepare for the upcoming season at the Mini Dome. Come join us. Go get your tickets today. Go Jag.